Hi, and welcome to Untethered with Jen Liss, the podcast that's here to help you free yourself from the crap that's holding you back so you can claim the life you're meant to live. I'm your host, Jen, and today we're going to talk about moving forward using the power of the mind-body connection. Let's go. Hi, friends. It's Jen. Welcome to the next Thursday thread. It's a Thursday thread. So in this episode, we are going to thread out a tiny piece from Cheris Centilli's episode from Tuesday. So in Cheris's episode, one of the big things that we talked about was bracing for impact and how we spend so much of our lives waiting for the next shoe to drop. And she had a traumatic event that happened in her life. Her father's 50th birthday, they went on a hot air balloon ride and they had an actual crash landing that left her father paralyzed. And her mother, everybody is traumatized from this experience, and seemingly, except for her own father, who had a positive outlook through the entire thing. And so she had this really inspiring figure in her life, while also dealing with her own trauma from this experience, as well as her mother, who afterward became an alcoholic to deal with some of her, the fallout of the experience. And so she had very real life situations that came out of this scenario. But for her, one of the big things that happened is that she was always waiting for the next bad thing to happen, always preparing, always trying to take care of everybody else in the room, everybody else in the world, instead of taking care of herself out of fear that, this could potentially happen again, right? And a multitude of other things that she also shared about. But I would love to talk about what happens there for us and the power of the mind-body connection in some of the ways that we show up, some of the thoughts that we have, the beliefs that we have, the behaviors that we have throughout our life, because that was a physical and mental thing that she went through. And so often we talk about just the mindset piece and just rewiring your beliefs and the mindset piece, which is incredibly important. The mind and the body are connected. They are inextricably connected. There are actually neurons. We think of neurons being in your brain. Hey, guess what? There are also neurons in your heart. In your heart. There are actually, you can look up the science on this. There are neurons that are in your heart. There is memory in your heart. There is memory in your body. So if we use this example of what she went through as this experience that she had as an example, she had memory attached in her body. And so as she says it, she was literally bracing for impact. And that's both physically and mentally. And it took her adjusting both of those things in order to move forward on things. And that's the same for all of us. It's why I'm so passionate, because for myself in my own journey that I've been on, it's like, there are huge things. I feel like I'm called to big things in this world. And I know that you're listening to this podcast because you feel the same way. There is some tug on your heart. There is something that you are being pulled to. You're like, girl, I got some gifts and I don't know exactly what they are or how to do it. Or maybe I do know some of that, but for some reason I'm getting blocked. Like, there are things that you are here to do in this world and you are being called to try to figure it out, right? And when we only do the mindset piece and we are detached from our bodies and we are simultaneously bracing for impact, bracing for the next thing, worried about the next thing, living so much in the future via our mind and our body, like, we can't move forward. We're stuck. And so that is why I ended up on my own journey going down the breathwork rabbit hole, because I was like, the first time that I did breathwork, I came into my body, I felt my emotions. I felt this wave of emotion for the very first time. I was so confused. I did this breathwork session and I'm sitting here on my computer. It's in a class and I'm on camera with this huge group of people. And I finished the breathwork And about 10 seconds later, I just start sobbing uncontrollably. I'm like, what the F is going on with me? What is this? And it was when she had me put my hands on my heart. And I do this so often in breath work because it's so important that we make this connection with ourselves. I put my hands on my heart and I said, thank you. I love you. And that just like opened up this portal of emotion that I had been shutting down for so long. So we so often are living our lives completely detached from ourselves, from our actual emotions, from our actual feelings. And if you're one of those people, strengthening your mind body connection, intentional tethers. So there's like unintentional tethers. There's the ones that we're just doing because we're on autopilot and they have formed somewhere over time. And maybe they used to serve us. For example, with Sheris, like when that happened, when that connection was made between her mind and her body, we need to brace for impact. It really did. Like that was for real. And if she ever was in another hot air balloon accident, she would be more prepared because now she has that connection, that neuro pathway happening between her mind and her body and all the beliefs and all the things. Like she good if she ends up in another hot air balloon accident, right? She's got that. But that's not likely to happen again. And so she's just on autopilot, repeating this same learned behavior again and again for every single threat. And so what we get to do is go in and dismantle those. Notice them. Say, oh, I see that you're here, and let them know that they don't need to be there anymore. And I know it sounds woo and I know it sounds weird, but we literally have to talk to our body and talk to our mind and say, it doesn't have to be there anymore. And when we start doing this, when we start simply meeting what is existing and noticing the existing tethers, being like, oh, okay, here's a pattern that's there. But hey, guess what? You actually don't need to be there. If you want to stay, you can stay. But did you know that you can go? They magically begin to dissipate. It alchemizes in your body. And we can do this through your heart, through opening your heart. That's actually how we alchemize these things, how we shift them. Because again, if we look at it from a scientific perspective, there are neurons in your heart. There are pathways in your heart. There's memory in your heart. And you can look up so many things about this. But if you look up if you really want to do some really great reading about this, you can look up the book, The Body Keeps the Score. It's like the classic piece of literature on this. And it's written by a doctor who has been studying trauma for many, many years. And now what Cheris went through was that's a big T trauma. That is a huge one. And we all have some big and some little T traumas, for lack of a better way of categorizing them. But those little ones can really add up. Like every T is a tether. Like every little T trauma is a tether. And we get to go dismantle those one by one. And it's why I'm so passionate. I was so passionate about learning it for myself. And I'm so dang passionate about teaching it to other people because it is freeing. It is the most freeing thing when we can meet ourselves without judgment exactly where we are at. It allows us to move forward. I can guarantee you that if you're not making progress on some of the things that you really like, I want to write this dang book, whatever that thing is for you, I want to sing on stage. I want to just have more joy in my life. And for some reason, it's not happening. You are tethered to the past, which are patterns that you're repeating. It is learned behaviors. It is beliefs. This whole cycle is repeating because you're living in the past. And a lot of depression comes from us living in the past and just reliving these learned behaviors. Now, or you are living in the future. Anxiety comes from us living so much in the future and just wanting and needing and feeling stressed because we aren't there yet, feeling behind, feeling overwhelmed. That is because of living in the future. So when we're spending so much of our lives tethered to the past or tethered to the future, you can feel that you're in a tug of war. It doesn't feel good. The solution, my friends, is to bring ourselves into the present moment. And that's what Cheris was teaching us with things like her PQ reps, her positive intelligence reps. So I also have done the program that she is certified in as well, the positive intelligence program. And I will teach you a couple of the things that you can do that I learned in that program. And we talked about it in that episode too, but I'm going to reassert and then add another one that can help you to come into the present. It's magical what can happen when we meet ourselves in the present moment. It pulls you out of the depression feelings of the past, out of the reliving of old behaviors, out of the anxiety of the future, and into the peace and the calm of the present. So the first activity, which we talked about in that episode, is to put 2 fingertips together, any 2 fingertips, probably your thumb and another finger, and rub slowly so that you can feel the pattern of your fingerprint. You can feel those tiny ridges. This is my favorite one. It brings you into the present because your mind is so focused. It's also bringing together your noticing of your mind, but you're also feeling with a sense of touch. It's tactile. So this is such a great activity. You can do it anytime. Nobody's going to think you're a weirdo for rubbing 2 fingers together. You can just put your hands on your lap and do it. If you're on a Zoom call, nobody even knows it's happening. Beautiful one. Another beautiful one that you can do that nobody even knows it's happening. That's also very tactile. I personally love the tactile ones. I'm also going to teach you an audible one, but is to feel every toe. Go down from your big toe, second toe, middle toe, next one to your pinky, and see how many of your toes you can feel. That brings your mind into the present, focusing on this one little activity. It's like coloring. Coloring does the same thing. It's like you are so focused on that activity that it gives your mind a break. It brings it into the now. It undoes those tethers. Like you're free. You were free in this moment when you were simply focusing on your fingers, when you're focusing on your toes. Now I'll give you the audible one. This is also a really great one. Notice how many sounds you can hear around you. Just notice all of the sounds around you. Now see the furthest sound away that you can hear. Maybe you can hear your neighbor mowing. Maybe there's a bird outside the window. Maybe there's a train in the background. What's the furthest sound away that you can hear? Now go mid-range. What is the mid-range sound that you can hear? Is there a branch tapping on the window? Maybe there's a hum from your computer. Like, what are the mid-range? What is a mid-range sound that you can focus on, that you can hear in the room around you? Now, what is the closest sound to you that you can possibly hear? Maybe it's your eyes opening and closing. You can hear your eyelashes hitting each other. Maybe there's a little piece of hair that's rubbing on your headphones. What is the closest sound to you? Now, that activity also brings your focus just to this one thing. You are untethered. You are untethered from these things of the past and these things of the future, and you are simply living in the here and now. This builds new neural pathways. And it feels good. They're great ones. It feels like so good to just feel those little bumps on your fingers, to feel your toes. So you're creating new pathways around something that feels pretty good or feels kind of interesting or you're curious about, instead of stress and anxiety of the future, right? And as we do this more and more, you can even set a little timer when you do, if you should be interested to go do the positive intelligence program. It's Shirzad Shamin who does this positive intelligence program. If you go and do that program, he has you put it in your phone or in the app to be alerted like every 30 minutes to do it. It just brings you into the present, brings you into the present, brings you into the present. And as you do this, you're strengthening the mind and the body. There's something physical that's happening. You're noticing, you're using your ears, you're using your fingers. So you're strengthening the mind-body connection and you're bringing yourself into the present. So you're untethering. And it's so good. They're simple. It's so simple that it's easy for us to not do these things, right? But it's more powerful than you realize. The more time you can spend in the present, the more you can make progress on the things that you want to do. There is no time like the now. And if you're living in the past and you're living in the future, you're not getting any of this now time. You're not getting it. You're bracing. You're bracing for either one way or the other instead of simply being here. It's freedom. And I did a survey on Instagram last week. And I asked, what are the number one things? Like if you're an entrepreneur, you want to be an entrepreneur, you've got things that you want to accomplish, but for some reason you're not getting there. What is the number one thing that you're seeking? And what is the number one thing that you need? The number one thing that people are seeking, freedom. Freedom. It is the number one thing that I'm seeking too. So I feel you. It's why I'm obsessed with being untethered, because we have to be free to be us right now in this present moment. You, who are you right now at your core? You're this person who is made for more. You are this person who is made for this amazing thing that is calling on your heart. When you get quiet with yourself, girl, you can feel it. You can feel it. It's there. When you're living in these other places and when you're so tethered and you're being pulled back and forth and you're going from anxiety to the past and what is that even? Is that you? Who is that tornado? That's not fun. It's not fun. And yet we choose to live there. You're choosing it. We're always choosing in any given moment. So what are you choosing today? Are you choosing to come into the present? There are tools available to you to help you get more and more present, to live more and more joyfully. That's where you're truly meant to be living. That's what your soul is craving. And if you're uncomfortable, that's why. Because your soul is like, you are living somewhere else and not right here where you need to be. Now, that does not discount doing future state visioning, stepping into a new you, becoming more confident, like all of those things that we know are so important to helping us move forward. Like doing that future state stuff is really, really important. But let's remember about confidence. Confidence does not happen in the future. Confidence happens right here in the now by you taking action. Action, then you become confident. Action, and then you become confident. Thinking about, oh, when I become confident will never make you become more confident. Never, ever, ever. That's not how it works. It happens by taking action in the present today, action that's aligned to you and the person who you are. And the more you can become present with that beautiful person who you are, the more action you are going to begin to take that is aligned to that future state that you know is calling to your heart. You don't need to spend so much time there in anxiety. You can spend time there focusing on the person who you know you want to become. Like, that's okay. But we also have to be present. So I hope that you understand the distinction between those two things. When you start to go into anxiety and stress, it's the wrong place. Come back into the present. And I speak on this. This is so funny. It's so funny how timely these things can be, because I myself have been dealing with some stress this week. We are going on vacation and I'm excited to go. But when you go on vacation and you're excited to go, there's a lot of things to do. And so I've had a lot of things on my plate to do and have been going deep into some of those stress pits. And I've been catching myself, and my husband has been catching me and pulling me back into the present. And this is the work. Like it is work but it also gets to be kind of funny and fun. Sometimes I'm like, what is even happening? Why do I keep ending up in this place? It's like, pull it back, do some PQ reps, meditate, do breath work, whatever the things are that can help you to rewire those connections between your mind and your body. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of doing both, especially for people who are living outside of your body. If you can't feel your emotions regularly, if your emotions feel unregulated, if you can't seem to control them, doing a practice like breath work actually strengthens your neuro pathways. It makes you more emotionally flexible. It makes your vagus nerve itself more flexible. It increases what's called the window of tolerance. So you have a window of tolerance from when you're going to be like, I'm okay, I'm here, I'm present, I'm feeling good, to being stressed out of control or being emotionally wild. Your window of tolerance is not stable, it's plastic. That's neuroplasticity. You can increase your window of tolerance, which means that you can wiggle and move and play around a little bit more before you go off the rails. Now, when we're moving towards something big, there's going to be times where we hit that off the rails moment because we're needing to expand our window of tolerance a little bit. We do that through taking action, through having experiences, through getting feedback, and by doing things like breath work in those moments where we hit the edge of our window of tolerance. We breathe through it, and it helps us to become more plastic in those moments where we can expand and we can hold more. And we don't get so stressed out. Our body doesn't flag danger, danger, danger in that same space because it's like, oh, she has signaled to me by breathing, by doing a rep of rubbing fingers together, by becoming present, that it's safe. It's actually safe right here. It's safe to have this experience that they just had. Right? This is how it works. And it's so important that we learn to do it. What's really interesting is that I've been doing this all of my life without realizing it, signaling safety to myself. There is an activity that you can also do called havening. Havening is where you rub your fingers on the back of your hand and down your arm to your elbow slowly. Havening. So when you do havening, it is signaling to your body this slow motion, just gentle, almost like you're rubbing lotion from your hand to your elbow, but very slowly, signals to your body that you're safe. So if you're in a stressed out situation, or if you're having a stressful thought, you can tell yourself, I am safe. It is safe for me to have this thought. It is safe for me to ask for a raise. It is safe for me to feel like I have a lot to do. It is safe for me to go get some of my work done. It is safe. I am safe. So if you say a safety message to yourself while you haven, it tells your nervous system that you are okay and you can relax. I have done this. I didn't realize this technique until it was taught to me by Kate Northrup, who is a coach in the space. And she taught this. And I was like, I've been doing this since I was a small child. And I need to ask my mom, actually, if she's the one who taught me this, but I do it when I was taking a test. I would do it during class. I would rub my finger up my arm and back down to my hand and up and down. And I was havening without realizing that I was havening. So this is another technique in addition to the PQ reps that I taught you, which is rubbing your fingertips together, noticing your toes. If you're more of an auditory person, noticing distant to closest audible sounds that you can hear. There's also ones that you can do with visual, with sight as well. But these are a few things that you can do to signal to your body that you're safe, because your body, when you're stressed out, when you're having anxiety, when you're having an experience like that, it's telling you that you're not safe in the present. So bringing yourself back into the present and signaling safety to yourself and repeating a mantra that says, I am safe, like I'm literally safe right now, will train your body that at that window of tolerance, of that point It's safe. And the more you do this, the more safe you will begin to feel. And then you can take steps without having yourself get triggered. You won't get triggered because you've rewired your mind-body connection in those moments by signaling to yourself, both physically and mentally, that you're safe, that you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. Now, if we take this back to our Tuesday episode with Cheris, has she set foot in a hot air balloon again? Probably not. That's a huge T trauma, and she'd have to have good reason to want to deal with that. But she could slowly over time signal to herself that it's safe to do that. It would take probably a lot of work. But some of the other things that her window of tolerance was very small for because of that incident, she has worked on. And now she's able to speak on stage. She's able to go on podcasts. She's able to coach other people. She's able to teach people the things that she knows and to talk about this experience because she's worked on her window of tolerance. And you can do this too. That's how we move forward on the things that we're called to. And so often, places where we have been harmed in some way, where we've experienced some kind of trauma in some way, where something has shaken us to our core, actually the place where we could teach the most. It's where you're being called on your heart to work through these things. It's part of your journey. It's part of your path. So start working on strengthening your mind, body connection now, today. Do one of these PQ reps while you're listening to this episode right now. It's amazing how much it can support you in moving forward on the things that you want to. Now, if you really you're like, it is time for me to figure out what is it that I want to do? How can I move forward on these things? How can I use the strength, the power of my mind-body connection to move forward, to unleash my gifts, to become that sparkly, magical unicorn in the world that you were born to be? Maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe you want to get a new job. Maybe you want to get a promotion. Maybe you want to switch careers. Whatever that thing is that you want to do in your life, this is what I coach on. This is what I am here to do. And my program, Made for More, is beginning the week of July 10th. We are going to be working on strengthening the mind-body connection so that you can move forward, unleash your gifts, and achieve your dreams. This is what this program is for. It is 12 weeks long. And then you also get another 9 months of continuing ongoing monthly coaching. You are going to get weekly breath work, weekly coaching sessions. There's 12 weeks worth of content modules and workbooks. It's going to be an amazing program for the right group of people. So if you're curious about it, you can go to jenlist.com/made for more, and you can check out all of the information about the program. I'm enrolling now. So if you're interested in it, go check it out and then reach out to me. You can send me a DM on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can send me an email to hello@jenlist.com. I am happy to have a call with you to talk about whether this might be the next best step for you or maybe something else. I'm here for you to talk through it. This is, again, my mission in the world is to help people to move forward and to use these gifts and these skills that I have learned along the way in order to do that. So I'm so thrilled to be offering this program and cannot wait for the people who are going to say yes to it. So again, you can go to jenlist.com/made for more. Go and check out all the information. Please reach out to me. I look forward to helping people strengthen this mind-body connection and accomplish your dreams. I hope you got something amazing out of this episode. If you did, I would love to hear about it. Take a little screenshot, share it on social media, tag me at UntetheredJen on Instagram, and I will always reshare your posts if you share it. Another thing that you can do, if you know somebody who something is calling to their heart, share this episode with them. Have them listen to it. Talk about it. Talk about your dreams. It's so important that we talk to other people about our dreams. Put it out there. You don't have to hold it in all for yourself. That dream was meant to be shared. Now you just keep shining your magical unicorn light out there for all to see. I'll see you next time. Bye.